Oh, there's so many yummy vegetarian options out there. You could try like lentil soup, veggie burgers, tofu stir fry. The possibilities are endless. If you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Wow. Let that sink in for a second. That quote, it really gets right to the heart of what we're talking about today. A philosophy called Essentialism. Hello to all viewers of my channel, and welcome. Today we're going to unpack this incredible idea of doing less but better. Okay, so to really get why essentialism is such a game changer, we first have to talk about its opposite. And honestly, it's a feeling I think we all know way too well. You know that feeling? You're overworked, you're stretched thin, you're being pulled in a million directions, but you feel like you're not actually getting anywhere. That, my friends, is the non-essentialist trap. And to see just how high the stakes can get with this stuff, let's look at a really personal story from Greg McKeown, the author behind this whole idea. Picture this. His wife has just given birth to their daughter. I mean, this should be one of the happiest moments of his life, right? But instead, he's totally stressed out. Why? Because he gets an email from a colleague that basically says, hey, it would be really bad if your baby is born between 1 and 2 p.m. on Friday, because, I need you for a client meeting. Can you even imagine? So, what do you think he did? Yep, he went to the meeting. And the result? It was a painful lesson. A huge one. See, he didn't win. By trying to please absolutely everyone, he ended up pleasing no one. His family felt let down, he felt like he'd betrayed himself, and get this, even the client was kind of looking at him like, dude, what are you even doing here? It was just a complete and total lose-lose. So, let me ask you, does any of that sound familiar? I mean, that feeling of being completely overworked but not really productive? Or being super busy but feeling like you're just spinning your wheels, running in a million directions at once? Yeah, that is the core experience of being a non-essentialist. It's when the loudest person in the room or, the latest email that pops in your inbox, that's what ends up setting your priorities for you. But what if? What if there was another way? A path that's more powerful, more focused, and way more productive in the end? Well, that's exactly what essentialism is all about. It's this disciplined pursuit of what truly matters. See, it's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things, but doing them better. And this slide, this just lays out the difference perfectly. It's a total mindset shift. On one side, you've got the non-essentialist. They feel trapped, right? Their mantra is, I have to do this. They think it's all important, and they're constantly asking, how can I possibly fit it all in? They're basically living life by default. But then, you have the essentialist. They operate from a place of choice. I choose to do this. They know that only a few things really matter. And instead of trying to cram everything in, they ask the critical question, what are the trade-offs? They're actively designing their life. I love this visual because it explains it so well. Think about your energy like a resource you only have so much of. The non-essentialist takes that energy and scatters it. A little bit here, a little bit there, and they end up making like a tiny bit of progress in 100 different directions. But the essentialist, they take that exact same amount of energy and they focus it. They channel it like a laser beam onto the few things that truly count. And because of that, they make huge, significant progress. It's the same amount of effort, but the results, they're not even in the same league. So where does this idea even come from? Well, fun fact, it actually has roots in the world of design. It comes from a German principle, weniger aber besser, which was made famous by the legendary designer Dieter Rams. It means, you guessed it, less but better. And let's be super clear here. This is not about being lazy. It's not about doing less just for the sake of doing less. No, it's about being incredibly smart and strategic with how you invest your time and energy so you can make your highest possible contribution. All right, so if you want to really start thinking like an essentialist, you've got to get on board with 3 core truths. These are the ideas that really power the whole mindset. Okay, here they are. And they sound simple, but trust me, living them out is the real challenge. First up, I choose to. This is all about realizing you have agency. You have the power to choose where you put your time and energy. You're not just a leaf in the wind. Second, only a few things matter. In a world that's constantly screaming for your attention, you have to accept that most of it is just noise. Only a very small number of things are actually exceptionally valuable. And third, and this is the big one for a lot of us, I can do anything, but not everything. This is the reality of trade-offs. You have to make choices. You can't have it all, and that's okay. This reminds me of a great quote from Michael Porter, a professor at Harvard Business School. He said, "Strategy is about making choices, trade-offs. It's about deliberately choosing to be different." Think about that. Strategy isn't just about what you decide to do. It's also, just as importantly, about what you deliberately decide not to do. And a perfect real-world example of this in action? Southwest Airlines. I mean, think about it. They didn't try to be everything to everyone. They didn't offer fancy meals or assigned seats or a first-class cabin. Nope. They made a clear trade-off. They said no to all that stuff so they could pour every ounce of their energy into being the absolute best at one single thing, offering simple, point-to-point, low-fare flights. And, well, we all know how that turned out for them, right? It was a massive success. Okay, so we get the why, we get the mindset, but what about the how? How do you actually put less but better into action in your own life? Well, the good news is there's a simple process for it. And the best way to think about this process is to picture cleaning out your closet. You know how it is. You can't just keep adding more and more clothes forever, right? Eventually, it's just a giant mess. To really fix it, you need a system, a way to decide what to keep, what to get rid of, and how to organize what's left. Our lives, our commitments, they're exactly the same. So here's that system. It's 3 simple steps. First, you explore and evaluate. This is where you look at all the options on the table, all the clothes in the closet, and you ask yourself, is this really the most important thing I could be doing right now? You have to have a high bar. Then, step 2, eliminate. This is where you get tough. You have to courageously say no to all the non-essential stuff, the trivial many. You remove the things that are just meh to make space for the heck yes. And finally, step 3 is to execute. Once you know what's essential, you build a system to make doing it as easy and frictionless as possible. You remove the obstacles and just let it flow. And look, at the end of the day, this is so much more than just a productivity hack. It's really a whole philosophy for living. It's about reclaiming control, about getting out of the passenger seat and choosing, deliberately, how you want to make your contribution to the world. This brings us to something really, really powerful. A caregiver named Bronnie Ware spent years with people in their final days, and she wrote about their biggest regrets. And you know what the number 1 regret was? It wasn't about money, it wasn't about travel, it was this. I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I mean, just let that hit you for a second. That is the ultimate price you pay for a non-essential life. So I want to leave you with this beautiful, profound question from the poet Mary Oliver. She asks, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? That question, it just cuts through all the noise, doesn't it? And essentialism really is the tool that helps you answer it, not just with your thoughts, but with how you live every single day. Hey, thanks so much for joining me for this one. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to the channel and give this a like. And I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what topics you want me to cover next in the comments below.